Hey YouTube, I'm back again with another food pantry haul. And if you guys saw the last video that I uploaded, I mentioned that the location that I went to only allows you to visit once every 30 days. And that is still correct. For that location, I only go there once a month, typically around the beginning of the month. But you can go at any time. That's just when I started going for when I went the first time, and so I just continue that every 30 days. But what a lot of people don't know is that you don't have to go to only one food pantry always. There is no limit, there's no restrictions on how many different food pantries that you can go to. It's just that at a certain point, it becomes kind of not worth it to go to one, depending on how far away it is, or if you don't have a constant mode of transportation and all of these things. So for this particular drive, this one is actually one of the drive-through food banks. Or I'm sorry, it's hosted by the food bank, and I go to a food pantry for the last video I made, but this one is directly sponsored by the food bank. And I tried to take a couple of pictures for the process, so I'll put them up as I'm talking. We drove up, we sat in a long line. It honestly probably only took us about 30 minutes to get through the whole line. It wasn't super long at all in terms of the time it took, but the line itself was very long. But it was super quick to actually go through because they moved us up into like individual lines. Like they had the whole line, but then they had cones set up to split it into smaller lines. And then they had workers come up, and all they wanted to know was your name, your address, how many people were in your household, and then about how much you made every month. This number was not meant to deter anybody. They just wanted to collect a demographic for the food pantry to understand like where people were coming from and all of these things, because it was a drive-through event and you did not have to provide any proof of these things. And they did not require you to be a resident of the area that you were coming to. So I'm sure they have people come from all over. The line was very long. We came about an hour before it was supposed to stop. So this location, they have like monthly meetup points with a set time, and they will run it either until they run out of stuff or the end of the time slot. But I'm sure if they still had people in line and they still had boxes, they'd probably run it longer than the time that they were supposed to be there. So anyway, after I answered those questions, they gave us a little ticket that they put underneath our windshield wiper, and then we just kept going through the line. And when we showed up, they saw how many tickets we had, because multiple families can carpool together. And if you were picking up for somebody else, or if you're picking up for yourself and somebody else, all you needed was a note that had the information that they were asking for, so that way they could write down who this was going to. And then they just gave you your stuff. Each family, I'm guessing, got what I got because they were setting it up in stations. And yeah, it was super easy. Got my stuff. And then we just drove away. And here is what they gave us. They gave me 2 young chickens without necks and giblets. These things are like frozen rock solid. It's kind of interesting how they, package it to get it shipped out. And then over here, they gave some typical can items. This came in 2 of these things. I just set it up like this because it was easier to look at. But in total, I got 4 cans of peas, 4 cans of cut green beans, 4 cans of sliced peaches, and 4 cans of fruit mix. And these are all some pretty typical food pantry items in terms of like what people donate. So that's what you'll usually get no matter which food pantry you go to. But what makes this drive-through one different is they also give you boxes of produce. I have been to this particular food drive before, and last time that we went, they gave us 27 pounds of sweet potato. Like, that was all that was in the boxes. I mean, that wasn't it. There was, I believe, 4 cucumbers, like 5 onions, and the whole rest of the 2 boxes were sweet potato. And I stood on my scale and weighed it out, and it was like 27 pounds of sweet potato. It was kind of insane. But you know, we just ate sweet potato a lot. It was free food, and we happened to like sweet potatoes, so we weren't complaining. But in terms of what can come in these boxes, it could be anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these in the freezer and move these cans a little bit so that way we can get inside the boxes and see what's inside. Alrighty, so box number 1, I can already see there's more sweet potatoes on top. And at any point in these videos, I don't want to sound ungrateful. I just think it's like interesting how you start to see like a pattern of what types of things are donated or given to you. So for sure, some sweet potatoes. There's one more down here. And it looks like the whole rest of the box is just a combination of some loose carrots and potatoes. Yeah, so probably got another solid 10 pounds of potatoes for free in a box. And I was hoping to get some carrots because I just ran out of carrots. And I know the last time we went here, all we got was sweet potato, but I was hoping if I was to get any root vegetables that it would be carrots. So that's box number 1. And then coming to box number 2, there's a huge cucumber just right on top. So cool beans, got a cucumber, a lone broken carrot, but totally fine. We'll just chop off those ends. And it looks like it's more potato and sweet potato, which again, that's totally fine. Probably got a solid 20 pounds between these two boxes again of potatoes. And this one right here, you can see, you could probably cut that part off and salvage it, but the whole rest of it is a little squishy. So I might just toss this because I do have the bag of red potatoes that I got from the other food pantry, as well as I still have a whole nother box of sweet potato. And I just pulled it over here. This is from a month ago. I got these sweet potatoes a whole month ago, and they still look perfectly fine. I'll probably take some of these to my family just because there's only 2 people in my house, and I don't know how quickly we're gonna go through all these sweet potatoes, and I will be visiting home for the holidays and such, so yeah, I have like 30 pounds of potatoes in my house that I got for totally free for just going to a food pantry. One thing you'll probably notice about the carrots and the potatoes is they're all kind of weird shapes, they're all kind of small, and the reason these were given to the food pantry is one of 2 reasons. They probably purchased some of them at a wholesale price, so they got a discounted price for buying a large amount, or these potatoes were not a profitable size for the farm. And so they may have just been donated by the farm because like either they have to deal with the dumping costs of paying a landfill to take in these items, or they could have just saved money by handing it over to a food bank as well as getting some tax deduction credits for it. And I just think that's a really interesting little fact about the food pantry. Oh my gosh, there's a cucumber buried in here. I started filming this after I filmed the outro, so I haven't quite dug through this box. So yay, a second cucumber. And then another thing to note is these potatoes are all wet. It was kind of rainy today, and as you saw in the pictures, they had everything kind of stacked up. So I imagine some of these boxes got a little wet. And what I'll probably do is sweep up my floor, get it all clean, and then just, you know, put all these potatoes out on the floor so that way they can dry out. And I don't have rotting potatoes, and I don't have potatoes sprouting in my house because I would like these to store for as long as possible, and potatoes store best whenever they are cool and dry. And yeah, that's all I had to show you guys today. I hope this helped give you guys an idea of what you might get if you also decide to go to your local food pantry. There were tons of cars in that line, and the cars looked of all different kinds of quality. Some were really nice, some were a little older, but everybody was there because they needed food, and everybody deserves to be fed. So if you're having trouble getting food on your table, it's okay to ask for help, and please reach out to your local municipalities to see if there are any resources like this in your area. And without anything left to show you guys, I will see y'all in the next video. Goodbye!